Alright, it's a Tier 3 game, and I am in the American South Carolina class battleship. I'm actually platooned with Tskune and Magpi, who are both in their St. Louis's, and we are in a very nice looking little Tier 3 match right here. Now, one of our teammates right here is predicting a very rapid loss. Because apparently he's got some sort of thing that says, hey, we're going to lose like crazy here. Well, fine. Let's see what happens. So first for me, it's kind of boring. The big disadvantage of the South Carolina at Tier 3 is that the guns don't actually have any real range advantage over anyone. So you're very much a move in and brawl. The enemy team also has a single South Carolina. And he's been spotted up in the far north, so I'm going up looking for him. Now something is spotting me. And I can see that C is being capped, so I'm pretty sure there's a destroyer down there. So I'm just keep my guns pointing in that general direction at first, just in case he decides to pop up, because sinking a destroyer early on would be a big help for my battleship, seeing as a destroyer is one of the things that battleships have the hardest time dealing with. But I can see there's a whole flood of cruisers starting to pop up in the north. Somewhere there's a whole bunch of enemy St. Louis's. And those are also very, very dangerous. So when I heave into range some of the cruisers, I turn my guns and I start looking for targets. Let's be honest, my first shot here, I don't notice that this guy isn't moving, so I end up shooting where he's going to be if he's going at full speed. He's of course not moving, and so I end up just killing a whole bunch of water. Can't afford too many mistakes like that. So instead, I just continue aiming at him. Moving north. I can see there's a destroyer up north. That guy's going to be could be a potential problem. I can see this guy's just starting to get moving, so I aim just a little bit ahead of him and let fly. One shell kills the mountain. The rest of them plunge down on the target. Well, we've got one in, but that's the life of the battleship. Now where's that destroyer? There he is, coming speeding around right here. Destroyers are really dangerous. They're very, very hard to hit with battleship guns. I'm calling on both my teammates to help me kill this destroyer, because they're dangerous. You can see the torpedo icon there. He fired at someone else, but they're still close enough to trigger the warning for me. Ah, loaded. Aim well ahead of him. Let fly. Yeah, he didn't like that too much. I just knocked out his engines. You can see the flames coming out of his smokestacks there, along with doing a fair amount of damage. And that slows him down. He fixes it. But that loss of speed means he's in trouble now. Seeing that he's turning and thinking, oh, he might be bringing his starboard side torpedoes to bear, I immediately turn into him to try and make myself as small a target as possible while trying to get my bow guns into play.
Torpedoes, direct
I don't know why I fired this shot. Pow. Right over the friendly. Score a hit. We go for the other one, but I'm probably going to kill the friendly. It's okay. Bunch of torpedoes come off, but luckily I'm right in between them. I'm able to zoom between them. And there it is. Primary target spotted. Enemy battleship. Dead ahead. It's another South Carolina. He's already taken a beating. I'm at full health. I'm just going to reload high explosive here as I bring all my guns to bear and then prepare to load armor piercing for the battleship duel. And as soon as the #1 turret, there it is. Alpha turret done. Broadside away. Get some hits in. Set them on fire. Reload with armor piercing. Now, both my teammates and their St. Louis's are going to be raining shells in their sky. You can see some of their shells coming in right now as they desperately try to help me finish this guy off. Because once he's dead, I can go around dispatching cruisers with a fair amount of efficiency. And even the mighty St. Louis worries when he sees a battleship pointing its guns at it. Because these are big 12-inch guns. Put a broadside in. I'm taking some fire from a cruiser, but only 210 damage. Yeesh, bounced off of him. But seeing how little health he has, I told my teammates, you guys can finish him off. I'm turning on this cruiser. It's one of those deadly St. Louis's with its ridiculously large number of fast-firing 6-inch guns. Line him up. No, I'm not going to pretend I can dodge a St. Louis. I'm just going to take it like a battleship as one of my allies sinks the enemy battleship. And prepare to do a little rebalancing. Get 4 solid hits for almost 7,000 damage. Even a St. Louis can't take that sort of punishment for long. And with 2 other St. Louis's raining shells on him, this St. Louis is probably starting to feel a little less enthused about his chances here. Meanwhile, he continues pounding on my battleship with everything he's got. He knows all too well that he's got it, that I'm the big threat here. The other St. Louis's further back are actually just barely out of range, whereas I'm right here, giving myself a nice obvious target. Put a broadside in. Part of them end up hitting the blue line and vanishing, but a good citadel hit, along with a regular hit, rack up another gigantic chunk of his hit points. And he is just getting shot to ribbons. At this point, I start making the turn. I can see that this is the last enemy vessel on this side, so I am going to get my guns turned south, where the rest of my team is being taken apart. Enemy St. Louis goes to the bottom, and now it's me and the rest of my division are turning south to try and deal with where the enemy is clearly winning down there. Matter of fact, they're winning by a fair amount in terms of points, as they've managed to capture 2 zones and have a third one. We're currently up by 1 ship in kills, but
Problem solved, sir.
yeah, I'm not liking it too much. And that right there, that's another St. Louis back there. I know you can't see him very well yet, but I've been stuck in a turn, and of course I was preparing to fight to my starboard side, and suddenly I've got this St. Louis I wasn't expecting on my port side. So I'll start trying to turn my guns again. But my stern battery is going to have a hard time getting into play in time. The other downside of this, of course, is, well, there he is. At least put the bow battery in play. Fire a broadside armor piercing at him, hoping to get a good citadel hit again. Slightly overshot it, and the one that did hit merely went straight through him for rather minimal amounts of damage. He starts giving me broadsides in return, of course. I am battleship. I hope we do. Take broadsides. You can see my stern guns are still coming around. It's not a very efficient way for me to fight. He's actually got all kinds of advantages here. And you can see he's hiding behind the mountain to try and minimize his target profile. Of course, that means he's got a bunch of guns unable to hit me. But it helps save him from follow-up salvo here. I only get 1 more hit in, but it's a hell of a hit for 2,000 damage. And now he's safe from me. And I've got all these other cruisers coming up on my right flank. And guess what? My stern guns are now facing the wrong way again. Well, thinking ahead a little bit, I start coming to starboard, or start getting to port while I once again bring my guns to starboard. The good news is it looks like most enemies in the south don't yet have a line on me either. It's now 4 on 5. We've only got it's the 3 of us and 1 other cruiser versus 4 enemy cruisers and a destroyer. And that destroyer has me sweating bullets. You have no idea where he is. And his torpedoes could end my day in a hurry. But oh, thinking of torpedoes, there they go. Those were launched at me. Luckily, my maneuvering meant that I ended up steering clear of them. I'm telling the guys, I know that destroyer's in B. He just launched at me and missed. I decide to ignore the St. Louis that is now to my port side to try and crush the cruisers on this flank as quickly as possible. First up, hey, it's an Albany. At least I think it's an Albany. In any case, you can eat all of this. Only 1 shell goes in. Silly battleship guns, not very accurate. Still, 800 damage. I spot a tier 1 Hashidate who actually platooned his way into the battle in the back, and I say, alright, that's a quick way to start reducing the number of guns in play. As one of my buddies in the St. Louis goes charging to the front to deal with the Albany, I aim at the Hashidate at the back. Taking my time, judging speed and distance. And when the shells are ready, off they go. That's how we like to see it done. Alright, with him out, more torpedoes in the water. Oh, it's that cruiser again, but no, we're going to ignore him. Trying to bring the guns on the destroyer, but he's out of sight too quickly. So we turn and aim at yet another cruiser off in the distance. Not sure what this guy is. Might be another Albany. Whatever it is, it's a lower tier cruiser. And need to reduce him to help my friends kill him as fast as possible. So I can see that St. Louis is out, and yep, he's starting to he's putting shells into me. I need to turn around and deal with him shortly. Get a good hit on him, weaken him some, and now, all right, Mr. St. Louis, congratulations, you annoyed me enough. Coming for you now. Use the healing thing to help undo some of the abuse he's been giving me. Sets me on fire, of course, because St. Louis is firing HE all the time. One of my platoon mates right behind me, trying to give me some support fire to help hit this guy. Put in a good hit, knock out one of his guns, reduce the damage output a bit. And once again, this guy's got in a position where my stern guns are just not able to do anything, and he is burning down my hit points a little bit too steadily for my tastes. Still, he doesn't want to stay out here and fight both me and another St. Louis at the same time, so he is running for it. Fire another bow batteries here, but nope, he just misses him, either hitting the ground or just going over the top of him. I decided to do something different. I don't want to chase him around there and out of support range of my allies, so I ram him. Well, I think I was around the brakes, but I bring it to with all astern. At this point, one of my platoon mates has died, division mates has died, so it's just down to me and one St. Louis plus another cruiser that's water around the western flank. But the enemy has been reduced to that St. Louis and that final destroyer. And there's that final destroyer. You can see me over my stern, but I know if I'm really afraid if I turn my guns away from this point, that St. Louis is going to pop back out and kill me before I can get my guns back on him. So I can remain locked in place. Trust my teammate to try and deal with the destroyer.
Astern!
But that's when suddenly the St. Louis appears going the other way. He's actually pulled out the other side of the island. Well, he's no longer a really major threat to me, so I go, do I wait for him to come around and just smash him? No. Gotta get the destroyer. Destroyer. I'm waffling here. This is a really tough choice. My guns do not turn that fast. No matter which one I turn to engage, I'm going to be leaving someone really dangerous still in play. I'm also pretty confident. Yep, there's torpedoes coming in. Luckily, I started moving, so those torpedoes end up missing. Finally make up my mind. I can take it from the St. Louis, but I gotta kill the destroyer. The destroyer goes down in a blast of fury, and now I'm loading armor piercing again. But now the St. Louis has finally run out of options. He's come out to fight, and he's coming under fire by both me and my remaining division mate. The two of us are just pounding away. Well, he's just pounding away. He's in the St. Louis. I'm taking the hammering for my buddy while the guns load. Aim. Try and put in the final shots.